I'm Polly Shill, and I started teaching at Downers Grove North in '94.
Okay.
And I loved teaching. I was teaching mathematics, and I loved my kids. I was teaching full time. But the thing that hurt me the most, saddened me the most, was the fact that I couldn't tell the kids about Jesus. You know, I'd stand up there in my mathematics classes and write all these equations on the board and explain to them very clearly how to solve their algebra problems, but I couldn't help them with the bigger problems in their life. So that's really became my prayer, is that before I left Downers Grove North, that I would leave some kind of lasting impact, an eternal impact, with telling kids about Christ. It was really the Christmas tea in 1996. Every year the parents would have a tea for the teachers. You know, the parents were always saying thank you to us. And so I had been praying for a while, okay, Lord, connect me with people, you know, in the community, parents. And then I knew Christian teachers in the school that were reaching out to kids. But everyone wasn't all connected. So anyway, I was at this teacher's tea, and one of these women that was saying thank you to me, I didn't know her at the time, but it was Deb Martin, and she had a little pin on her shirt that said, Jesus is the reason for the season. And I said to her, I said, hey, I'm a Christian too, and what's your name? And I introduced myself, and I said, you know, I've been praying for a long time for the kids at Downers and wanting to connect the Christian community together. And I said, do you think there would be an interest in a youth group for the kids especially who don't have a youth group, don't go to church, you know, aren't connected? And she said, oh yeah, we've been praying for a long time for that. In January, she had written me a letter right after Christmas and said, here are some people you might want to talk to. I called all those people, and then from those people they would network me to more people, and then I talked to the Christian teachers at school, and we all got together and started praying. And then I contacted Youth for Christ and said, you know, we have people that are interested in starting this ministry. And that's the next part of the story.
Well, let's continue into that.
So I called Dick Norton, and I just said, I'm a teacher at North, and I think that there's enough interest in Downers Grove to start a Youth for Christ club. And at that time, I didn't know what was involved with how involved it would be. I remember sitting across from him and just saying, this is the people that I've contacted. These are all the people that I know that are believers that would stand behind this, and I know that there's a need. And what do we need to do next? And so he just said to me, he was very, you know, matter of fact, and this is the next step. He said, what you need to do next is we need to have some informational meetings. Let's go ahead and set up an informational meeting. So we set that up for February 3rd, 1997. And I was just jumping out of my seat. I was so excited about that meeting. And Dick was like, oh, you know, if there's 10 people there, that'll be good. And I was saying, no. There's going to be 100 people there. I know, because I've been talking to people, and people are excited about this, and I just know that God's going to really answer this request. So February 3rd rolled around, and I still remember just how excited I was about the meeting, and just driving here in the car, I was just praying that God would really bring out the people. And it was cold that night, I remember, February 3rd, and I walked into the meeting, and it was supposed to start at 7:30, and at 7:15 there was only like 10 people. And I just remember going into the restroom and crying and praying and saying, God, I know that this is supposed to start because there's so many people interested, and kids need Jesus. And I said, I've been praying and asking for 100, you know, and there's, you know, just a handful out here. So I just prayed, and then when I came out, it's one of those chill moments where just chills are all over your body, and you just know the Holy Spirit's working. And I came out, and the whole room was completely full of people. And I was jumping up and down. I was jumping up and down. I I looked over to Dick, and he was surprised, like looking around, and I don't think he had enough material even because there were so many people there. After that February meeting where we had, close to 100 parents come out, within that, Dick had told us that we needed 30 boosters to hire a staff member. And, I looked at that meeting, I'm like, we're going to do it. There's no question in my mind that this is going to happen. Within that month, we had 15, so we all thought, okay, it's going to happen this fall. Well, it didn't. And all of a sudden, there was a stop put on it. I think that for a while, people were getting kind of discouraged. And, that's all about what our faith walk is. It's dependence on the Lord. And I think that it was a test. And just, are you going to continue to trust me? You've prayed for all these years. I'm showing you that this is going to happen. But it's not going to be about you. It's not about you. It's not about all this little team that you've gotten together. It's about me and my timing, and you need to wait another year. God chooses to use people to do his work. And we all have sin. And it's just, as I think about all those times that people prayed and asked the Lord, it was all in humility, just asking him to take the bigger picture and take our stuff and turn it. There's an illustration that I've learned recently. It's talking about the miracle of turning water into wine. He takes our water that we give him, our barrels of water, just poured in, and turns it into a rich wine. That's a blessing for all. If you give yourself completely to what the Lord has called you to do, whatever your gift is, and if you open yourself up to his will in that, then you will see him do great work. As I look back at the start of this, I just think that there were so many people that were at that same point where they were really listening to what the Lord was saying to them. There would have been no way that this ministry could have taken off if people had said no. There are enough people that said yes and were open in their life to the next step. Just amazing that this was, I think of how many kids have come to Christ. There's a rich harvest. There's a rich harvest of kids who are now going forward and discipling other kids, and they're growing up and loving Jesus.